Maynilad is extending the rotational water service interruptions to November 29. The water concessionaire says the removal of sludge in its last affected basin is taking longer than expected. Maynilad says of the three of its sedimentation basins at La Mesa Treatment Plant, one is fully operational. The second is cleared of sludge and is now being refilled. Let's now talk to Jennifer Rufo. She's the corporate communications head of Maynilad. Ms. Jen, good morning and thank you for taking our call.
Yes, Ria, good morning to you and good morning to all of the listeners and viewers of your program.
All right, now the rotational service interruption was supposed to end yesterday, but it was extended further until Sunday. Can you explain to us what exactly is taking Maynilad quite some time to restore normal water service?
Yes, thank you. If you recall, we started the rotational interruptions in November 18, and you are right. We initially estimated that it would take us 7 days to clear out all of the sludge from the three basins, sedimentation basins that were affected in our treatment facilities. Unfortunately, it took longer than we initially estimated. As you reported earlier, we were able to put fully operational the first one, and then the second one, last night we finished refilling it with water and it is now operational. But the third basin is taking longer than we expected because the sludge has begun to harden in the drain pipe. And so it's taking longer to remove all of the sludge before we can actually commence the refilling of the basin. And so we also have to take into account the time that it will take to thereafter refill all of the major reservoirs and build up the water in the pipelines. And so now we are constrained to extend again the rotational interruptions right up to November 29.
All right, Ms. Jen, can you explain to us, how does that sludge accumulate, and is that a normal occurrence?
It's actually normal, but it only happens on a yearly basis. We typically maintain these basins yearly, and it doesn't reach as high as 4 meters like what happened in one day after the passage of Typhoon Ulysses. And so this is quite unprecedented. When Typhoon Ulysses struck Luzon, the turbidity reached almost more than 6,000 nephelometric turbidity units. That's an unprecedented high because the last historical high was only 1,800 NTU, and that happened in year 2016. So 6,000 is quite high, and you can just imagine it's practically mud that was entering our treatment facilities. And so when you're receiving mud from the dams, you have to take longer to treat that water because otherwise mud will flow out of faucets, and we do not want that to happen.
Absolutely. Can you tell us po, are all Maynilad concessionaires experiencing this water interruption?
Well, Maynilad is strongly affected by spikes in turbidity because the raw water from Angat and Ipo Dam drains directly to our treatment plants. Unlike in the case of the other concessionaire, the raw water from Angat and Ipo Dam will flow first to La Mesa Dam before it enters their Balara treatment facility. So in other words, they have an impounding reservoir which acts as a sedimentation basin. So that's why in our case, we're more affected by spikes in turbidity.
All right, so can you tell us how many households are affected and which areas or cities in particular?
Okay. Initially, those affected would be 70% of our customer base. So that's around 1 million accounts. We did not lift the schedule that we posted on our social media accounts because the assumption is in the course of the 5 days from November 25 to the 29th, the service interruptions that is posted there will gradually shorten anyway. So in other words, expect the worst, but it will get better in the next few days because as the water flows through the pipes and the pressure builds up, the interruption schedule will shorten over the course of the 5 days. In fact, for some areas, it will be earlier than November 29 when they will finally have their water service restored fully.
All right, so it will gradually get better leading up to the 29th. And understandably, one of the concerns of your customers would be, if ever, would there be an extension of the November 29 complete restoration of water services?
Well, since we only have one basin left to clean, the November 29 is going to be the last extension. So that's an assurance that we can give.
All right, we heard it straight from you. Thank you very much, Maynilad Corporate Communications Head Jennifer Rufo.